Hey guys, welcome back to the Shlog. We are finally done goofing off for the new year. Zach and I are back here at the shop. We're actually going to get to work. We're going to stop riding motorcycles for a little bit. We've had the best start of a new year I've ever had. I was able to ride 8 days out of the first 12 of the new year, so I'm really happy about that. We're back. We had an awesome trip to St. George. If you haven't checked out those videos, make sure you check out the link right here for that playlist. We had an absolute hoot. It was really fun. Anyway, back to work. Leia, come on. Off with the new year of having to change tires on ATV wheels because he went to Mexico for Christmas and he has to suffer for that. Yeah, so we're back at it. We actually got plenty of work to do, which is awesome. We got a KX490, which should be really interesting. It had an oil leak that the guy kept just adding oil and then it finally quit running. And the guy sold it to a friend of ours who's going to make it into a snow bike. We're going to be rebuilding probably the entire thing, crank up. I have a big bore kit for it, 490 Athena kit, so that should be awesome. But my first job today is on the ATK 250R, whatever this thing is. I forget what they're called. Anyway, it's a 250 two-stroke, and it's not starting unless you use brake cleaner or something like that, so I'm hoping it's just a simple carburetor situation. If it's not, we're going to try another carburetor on it. So that's going to be awesome. Let's get after the Shlog, guys. We got the ATK up here on lift, got tank and everything off, and like I said before, the customer complaint was that it doesn't start when without spraying a little brake cleaner or ether or something into the airbox. But that it seems to run pretty good once it's started. Seems to be okay. But let me show you one thing here real fast. The first thing I noticed is that we got this air boot, looks like absolute poo. That can't be good. So if that's leaking air, that would make it lean, because it seems like it's lean, right? From what it sounds like from the customer complaint. Also, I'm noticing this. That's awesome, but that's all hooked to the. So there you go. It's all hooked to the air filter, so that shouldn't be leaking. But the air filter seems really super dry. So that's not totally awesome. I guess let's feel. That doesn't. Kind of kicks over pretty easy. So while this is off, I'm going to take a look at the carburetor, look inside there. It's an old school Mikuni TM. It's not the new TMX. It's on the new things. But we'll take a look inside there, make sure the jetting looks okay. But I think after feeling that thing turn over that easy, I might take a look at the reeds real fast and then also pull the spark plug and just run a compression test on it because maybe low. That's also, that can also be, or it can also have symptoms of being too lean if the compression's low, because it just needs a little squirt of really volatile gas to get going, like brake clean or something like that. So anyway, we'll dig into this thing and see what we can find. So it hasn't run very long, if it did run at all, because that spark plug is awfully clean looking. It does have some wetness on it, so that means it's at least pulling some fuel into it. But let's get a compression tester. If you guys don't know, and some people do and some people don't, when you're doing a compression test, you always want to make sure you've got the bike held wide open, allowing as much air as humanly possible to come through the carburetor. If you leave it closed, you won't get a real reading. In this situation, we don't have a carburetor on there anymore, so we can just kick it. But normally, if you're doing a compression test, make sure you got the throttle wide open, whether it be a motorcycle, ATV, car, whatever. You got to have the throttle wide open to get a real reading. So let's jump up on this thing and kick it. All right, that could be our problem. The max I got was just under 125. So I'm going to do a little research and see what that ought to be, but that seems really low for a 252 stroke. Yeah, that's not awesome. He did bring me the manual, so I'm going to check in on that. We'll get back to you here in a second. All right, after doing some looking and some Googling and some talking actually to the owner of the bike, I think that 125 is low, especially after that many kicks. So I think it needs a top end. That was originally a giant bummer for me because I was like, oh man, the guy's gonna be so bummed out. And he's got a newer Husqvarna, but he's kind of restoring the thing because he had one of these back in the day. So I thought, oh, this is gonna be a bummer. It turns out that ATK is still in existence in Utah and still can get parts. So, and it's a Rotax motor, so hopefully that's true. Anyway, I'm gonna push it off the lift for now and get on to something else. But wanted to show you guys another quick tech tip. Hold on, Zach's gonna start a bike. Let's see if he can start it. Oh, never mind, he's checking compression. Let's see if he can check compression. Oh, he can! Look at him go. Yeah. I've showed you guys this before. Let me show you again. When you're gonna put something away for a little while and you don't have a carburetor on it, make sure you close the holes up. Just take a rag, go like that. There we go. That keeps any errant things from ending up inside that motor where we don't want them. And since it's a two-stroke and the carburetor goes in there, whatever, you really want to do that because if anything ended up in there, it'd go right into the crank and then, anyway, problems. So, all right, I'm going to push this out of the way. And actually, next thing I'm going to do is bring one of my bikes in from the Utah weekend, and let's just take a look at the air filter and how bad it is after 2 days of riding. All right, so we got Daisy in here to get her all back into good shape after an awesome time in St. George. Rode this bike 3 out of the 4 days we rode. The YZ was awesome on day 1. But the next 2 days we did a lot more rocky technical stuff, and this bike's just better in that. But yeah, really happy. Only thing really to report on it is that I did differently is I'm using the levers from Bulletproof Designs, both clutch and brake, and they are awesome. I'm really happy. The brake is awesome because I can get it far enough out away, fits my fingers, and then I get really good brake action. So anyway, super happy with those levers, and it's awesome. Also, I haven't talked about it much because I haven't been riding this bike that much, but I use the Dunlop AT81EX out there. I've had it on there now for probably about 220 miles, something like that. That's what it looks like. Definitely getting pretty rounded off, but it's still sticking really well. Pretty happy about that too. So, phone's ringing, hang on. Guess they hung up. Anyway, so yeah, that thing's doing well. It worked really good on the rocks. It's gonna wear out really soon, but I don't know. It's a gummy tire, that's what they do. So anyway, after 3 days of riding, I didn't change my air filter because I was out front most of the time because I was leading the group. But let's take a look and see what this air filter looks like. Not that bad. Boom. So you see I'm using my little pokey funnel web, and you can see that it is doing its thing. Like, these sides still have some clean stuff. These sides not so much. But with some clean foam, it's definitely gonna breathe. Eric Brantingham. Or, I'm doing well, how are you? Alright guys, let me show you what I'm finding. And that is nothing. Nice and clean, just like we like it. So even after 3 days in the sand in Utah, air filter did great. Like I said, I was out front most of the time, so I wasn't just breathing a ton of dust. But I really like those funnel web air filters. Now I have a normal twin air also, and I kind of go back and forth just between the two, depending on which one's clean, not clean, whatever. But I really like the funnel webs. I do think that they actually work. Just my 2 cents. So after a big trip like that, I like to kind of walk around the bike, take a look at everything, make sure everything looks good. It really does. The wheel bearings feel good. The one thing I noticed is it was getting hard to push. And I don't know if that's just because I have mousses and some soft tires and soft mousses or what. Hey Leia, come here. Why don't you go in your kennel? Go in your kennel. Good girl. Good job. Yeah, so I don't know if it's just because the mousses and whatever, but one thing I'm gonna do is jack this back end up and see if the back is spinning like it should. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it. The other thing is my shock is making this creaking noise, and I think it's the spring creaking. I'm not 100% sure. It's really hard to tell. Like when I go, I don't think it's the bearing or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the shock off also and take a look at that, just because it's super annoying when you stop and you're talking to people and the bike's making weird creaky noise. The last thing I have to do before I get done working on it is just put the jetting back to where it was here and change the oil, but everything else looks great. So talked to the owner of the ATK, and we are going to take the top end off, which is awesome. He found that he definitely can get parts, so that's super cool. So we're going to take the top end off that. Zach's going to do that here shortly, right after he gets done working on that thing. Look how angry he is. Yes, I got him mad again. I love it. Anyway, so that's going to be cool because this is a weird motor. Like I mentioned before, it's a Rotax motor, so it's made in Austria. It's pretty cool, but it's got some weirdness. Like one thing is, if any of you guys are snowmobile guys, you'll recognize that that looks an awful lot like a snowmobile power valve. So that's interesting. Anyway, gonna get that off, take a look at it. The main reason is if the cylinder is super messed up, the owner is actually going to buy the biggest piston he can and make this into a 260 instead of just a 250, because the stroke on those bikes is the same. It's just a little more square of motor. So anyway, gonna get that apart here soon. But my next project right now is to disassemble this bike. It's an 08, I believe, 450 EXCR, 08, 09, anyway, somewhere in there. It's got the weird motor. It's completely blown all the way up. Yeah, that's not good. Let me show you what the head looks like here real fast. It's on display. So if you guys ever want to come down to the shop, if you're in town, come take a look. You can see what bad things happen. I don't even know what happened to that thing. That thing was obviously wide open when it came apart. Blew up. Anyway, I bought the bike from the customer because he's not going to fix it because it's like, you know, a giant, huge bill on an old bike, not worth that much. So I am now going to cherry pick all the parts that I want off of it, mainly the wheels and the front forks. Then I'm going to offer up the rest of it to someone who wants to come pick it up. It's going to be on our Facebook page. It will probably already be gone by the time this video comes out. But if not, you guys can hit me up, let me know. But check our Facebook page out. It's just facebook.com/Highland Cycles. And you can check in on that, because that's where I do a lot of giveaways. I give stuff away all the time. Like, people bring me kids gear and things like that we just want to, you know, they just want to pay it forward and help out other kids. So anyway, I'm going to pull these wheels and forks off and then get this thing posted up on Facebook. Also, the cool thing is, these are the old open chamber forks that are actually really, really good forks if they're valved well. I'm going to have our buddy Brady at TVT go through these forks, valve them, get them all set up, and then they're going to be test forks for people. So if you're in town and you want to feel like what the front end of a TBT suspended bike feels like, totally free. I'll slap the forks on there. Obviously you have to have a KTM, but we'll slap the forks on there, send you out, and you can take it for a spin. So anyway, I'm gonna do that, and then Zach will be taking that thing apart, and we'll take a look inside that motor. All right, so Mr. Sheets has the top end off of the half of the snowmobile motor. Crank feels good. Looks all right. I think it's gonna be okay. Interesting though, as Zach took it apart, the piston looks almost brand new, but the ring looks like it's kind of messed up, and it's definitely chewed up on the edge. Let's see if you guys can see that. Focus. There we go. That's not super great. And look at this cylinder, it's so weird. It's like this huge cavity for water, which is nuts. But it doesn't look that awesome, so we're definitely gonna need to get that thing fixed. So I think he's gonna go up to the biggest size possible, but let's check it out and see what we got for it. No, I'm not getting a dial bore gauge and measuring up and down and all that. I mean, I could do that, but we're gonna get it fixed anyway. We just need to see what basically the size is. So 67.8 millimeters. I believe you can get a 68 millimeter piston, so we're probably gonna do that. Yeah, there we go. Needs some love, and it's interesting. I've actually never had one of these off. It's just a weird thing. It definitely looks like a half of a snowmobile engine with this kind of power valve set up and all that, and looks like someone did some porting in there, probably from the factory. That was probably one of their selling points. It's like, yeah, we poured every cylinder, but our bikes suck. So I just get, well, no, they sucked anyway. But they are kind of cool because they're made in the United States and all that. So anyway, right on, there we go. Going to yeah, call the customer, get the right parts coming, and then we'll send that thing out to Millennium. The KTM that I said I was going to give away on Facebook is already gone. So if you're watching this, sorry, it's long gone. Yeah, on to the next job. Okay guys, so we got another motor part. This time it's the 2012 KX490. It's going to become a snow bike. The owner of it just bought it from a friend who said it just needed a top end. And then after he bought it, he started telling him that, oh, it had an oil leak, and all I did was pour oil back in it every now and then it quit. Anyway, so we were super worried that it was going to be like way blown up, but it actually looks really good. Upon inspection of the crank, when it doesn't move at all up and down, and the cylinder looks fine. It's definitely worn. There's no way for me to show you this on camera, but if you take your fingernail and come up, you can feel a ridge where the rings have just worn the cylinder down, and there's this like zero crosshatch in there, and it's real shiny. That usually means that it's just worn out. So I think the valves, yep, valves look good. Focus. There we go. The you can see there's a relief around the heads of the valves, so they're not sunken way up in the head or anything. So I think it's actually gonna be okay. We have a 490 kit from Athena to put in this thing, so I gotta call the customer and make sure he doesn't want to like preemptively put a crankshaft in it. I don't think he will, because that seems kind of crazy since it feels good. It is a snow bike though, so I don't know, but we're gonna give him a ring, and then probably proceed forward with putting the 490 on this thing, and then checking it out. The air filter. Come on, guys. Air filter maintenance. Clean and maintain your air filter. I keep forgetting to put that in every Shlog, but I'm going to. Next job for me is my kids' KX190. We got new plastics and graphics for it. Deck it out, but then also I got to jet it back for this elevation. Get it ready for him to ride this weekend. I think we're going to go ride in Delta Adobe. So stay tuned. I haven't put in a Delta video up in a long time. It's a lot like Peach Valley in like the look, but the terrain's actually pretty different. So I think we're going to go there this weekend. So stay tuned for that. It should be awesome. Yeah, next job. All right, we got some parts checked in, and what was super awesome that showed up is, boom, another beautiful set of TBT suspension. This one's for our buddy Andrew Neal and his 21 Husqvarna TX300. So here's kind of a cool thing. Andrew didn't want the air forks. I don't blame him. Long, whatever. Some people love them, some people hate them. I don't like them. Anyway, and he doesn't like them. And he had Explorer forks on his last bike, but he decided that this bike he wanted to do spring forks, but he didn't really want to do the spring conversion or pay giant money for the KYB setup. So what we did is we talked to Brady, got in touch with him, figured out what we could do, and so he got a normal TX shock, but we swapped out the forks for some super setup Explorer forks. So they're going to be set up just like his last bike with springs and everything, and it's going to be really, really good. So really happy about that. And now I'm going to change the plastic on this thing. Do it fast. I got to get it ready. So, boom, there we go. That looks pretty good. Kid's a big fan of the Dukes of Hazzard, so we got Dukes of Hazzard graphics, and I am really, really happy with it. Obviously, I got to clean up a whole bunch. The bike is still dirty from Arizona, but I went ahead and rejetted it. Got to dial back in for our altitude because we're going to ride this Sunday. Huge thanks to Decal Works. Sean Murdoch at Decal Works is the best graphics guy I've ever worked with. Super fast, super reasonable price, and stuff turns out really, really well. These ones he actually put on the plastics for us. We still have green on here because we couldn't get black shrouds, so we had to go with green shrouds, so I went ahead and left the green seat cover on there for now, and I think it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I think, yeah, it turned out pretty awesome. All right, let's get on with the next job. In this week's Shlog, I think I might do this on every, I'll try to remember to do this in every Shlog because I think it's good for people out there that have a workshop or a shed or a garage or an actual shop. They're trying to build up their tools. And so I want to do like a tool spotlight. And this week I want to do the one that Mr. Sheets showed me. It's the one good thing he's done. Oh, I'm gonna get punched in the face. Anyway, is these things from Knipex. These are the coolest plier channel locks. They call them pliers wrench. There we go. Let's see if we can get in there. Oh, focus. There we go. There we go. All right, pliers wrench. They are so freaking awesome. They have 3 sizes. I only have 2 in my toolbox there, but I have all 3 sizes in the van. But they are so awesome because the way they use their mechanical advantage, they clamp straight. They're not like normal channel locks, so they clamp straight, and they are seriously like as good as, almost as good as a normal wrench, and sometimes better than like an open end wrench because you can squeeze on them and they won't spread apart. Now I use Snap-on and Matco wrenches that don't spread too much and they're pretty good, but these things are absolutely amazing. I highly recommend getting a set. They're dumb expensive. They're like 50 or something bucks a piece. But yeah, really, really, really recommend these. Matco, Snap-on, everybody sells them, but you can buy them direct from Knipex. Like I said, it's Knipex that actually makes it, not Matco or Snap-on. There it is. Right there. They also have the size right in there, so like you can tell what size you're dealing with. Like if you had to go get a socket, if you want to like reach in and touch something and like, okay, so it's a 17 or whatever. Anyway, they're awesome. Just thought I'd share that with you. Here's a little note to people who buy an Athena big bore kit for a 4-stroke. They say that it comes with everything you need. 2 things it does not come with. One is a cam chain, which you could argue back and forth whether or not you actually need a cam chain. But if you're doing a top end, you probably should do a cam chain. But anyway, they don't come with a cam chain, and they don't come with valve seals. And that's a huge bummer, because now I got to go order valve seals. Hopefully we can get them here by tomorrow or the next day, so Zach can get this done. But yeah, come on, Athena. But it's pretty cool, getting done, getting close on it. So, beautiful, nice, shiny new cylinder. We got a new cam chain for it. And yeah, so got to get some valve seals in it, but that thing will be good to go. It's going to be a snow bike, so that's why he's putting the big work in it and make it as fast as possible. Hey guys, it's been a while since I've brought you a broke racer tip, but I want to give you guys a broke racer tip. So if you watched the video of us in Phoenix area near the mile markers, you saw me run over my child, and part of what happened in that crash was this fender folding and getting this lovely white mark in it. It's one of the things I don't love about blue plastic, especially Yamaha blue plastic. When you fold things, it gets these nasty white, big, giant marks in there, and they're just there. But I have the broke racer tip. So a heat gun or a hairdryer set to high, and with a little bit of time and a little bit of carefulness, watch this. Getting there. It's not perfect, but now I'm going to wipe it off a little bit with some stuff and kind of clean it up a little bit. Then we'll take a look and see how close it is to what the rest of the blue looks like. Alright, check it out. Definitely a little bit lighter right there. So I'm going to get the heat gun. I'm going to put it underneath this time, heat it up, then come back on top, heat it up, and we'll check back in here. I'm real happy with how that turned out. Looks nice and blue. Basically all the same color. So, yeah. There you go, guys. Little broke racer tip for you guys. A little bit of heat, a little bit of time. And the thing I mentioned before, I said you had to be careful. What you don't want to do is melt the plastic, because with a heat gun, you can actually fully just melt a hole through that. So just be careful, don't go crazy. Also, if you have graphics, you want to be careful, because heating them up too much can make them peel off. So just, you know, use your best judgment. Get that thing. It looks good. It's definitely not perfect, but it's way better than it was. I don't see that being a thing. Are you stuck? Guys, at the end of the Shlog, kind of show you what the van's looking like these days. As you saw, we just put the seat back in. Really pretty easy. It takes a little lining up and get it all in there, but so yeah. So if you guys haven't seen it in a little while, here is the Highland Cycles Moto van. Got a seat in here for my kids or whoever else. It's bolted down to the original track from Ford, but then also aircraft quality L-track that I had Adrenaline vans install, so that I can actually move these up and back and all that. The next big thing that's happening on the Moto van build, which is going to happen next week, is I have swivels coming for the two front seats. So we can swivel those around and have kind of a hangout area right here. Also, when we're camping with two people, and this isn't in here, this will be like kind of a kitchen area, hangout area. The loft is really cool. It worked perfectly at the series of awesomenesses. It's just like it is perfect for just moto, go, ride, whatever. Gear bags up here, all that stuff, got chairs, things like that. Anyway, but this top piece slides back and sets down into a bed, and it worked perfectly while we were in Utah. I also have to insulate and sheathe the ceiling, but I'm not going to do that right away. I'm just, whatever. It's a pain in the butt, and I don't want to do it. It'll happen before the next camping trip, but I don't have any of those planned anytime soon. Yeah, let's take a little tour back into the back. Got my bolted on mount for the bikes. 3 bikes go easy. Got a nice small table that's adjustable height sitting there. Right now it's not tied down very tightly because I don't have my other L-track in, but I do have 2 more pieces of L-track, one for down there, one for there. Then that'll be held tightly. You can see here a little bit better the 2-layer thing. So we have this top piece slides back and sits on to L brackets. The cool thing about these, the way that we did this L bracket, is that since it's on L track, I can move this up out of the way for now and move it back. Got my Easy Up jacket, gas can, toolbox, heater. I love it. It's just like I want, man. So my official review with 3,500 miles on the Ford Transit 250 is, it's perfect for this. I am just absolutely in love with the way this thing's working. So also mileage, get a lot of questions about that. I'm averaging for around town and the trips and all that right now, I'm averaging right at about 15 miles to the gallon. Going to Utah and back, it was a little bit less than that actually, because I was hammering down and doing the speed limit, which is 80 across Utah, up some of those big hills. And it was a little fuzz under that, but it's all right. If you slow down, it seems like the break point in mileage is right around, I'd say it's right at like 70 miles an hour. Above 70, the mileage really starts to drop just because of the wind resistance. But all right, guys, it's the end of the week, end of the Shlog. Mr. Sheets is over there, and there's my kid, Thomas. Hi. Fighting with KX450. Actually, he's not fighting. Fortunately, he's getting back together. It's now a KX490. We've got the valve stem seals, so that's awesome. We will check in next week with that thing, make sure it's all good to go, and I'll show you videos of Zach riding wheelies on it. Hopefully not looping it out, but you never know. Anyway, guys, great week. We had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, and you think that we earned it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That would be awesome. We are edging closer towards 10,000 subscribers. When we do, Zach and I are going to the Octagon for a battle royale. And look how happy he is. Yeah! He thinks he's going to beat me. That's not happening. I love you guys. I hope you get out and spread the gospel 2 wheels. And as always, I hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!